Chapter 1. Ghosts Adrift. The sea remembers. It remembers the way the Mary Celeste rode the swells, her sails billowing like ghostly wings against the dawn. It remembers the silence that settled over her decks, the absence of voices, the absence of life. And it remembers the moment she was found drift, untouched by time, yet hollowed out by a mystery that would outlast the ship herself. December 4, 1872. The Dei Gratia, a British merchant vessel, cuts through the Atlantic under a sky the color of bruised steel. Captain David Morehouse scans the horizon with a practiced eye, his crew moving with the rhythm of the waves. Thanther, a speck on the water, a ship, but something is wrong. The sails are set, the rudder is lashed, but no one is at the helm. No one is anywhere. The Mary Celeste is a ghost ship drifting toward the Azores like a specter from another world. When Morehouse's men board her, they find the lifeboat missing, the chronometer stops. The ship's papers scattered, no sign of the 10 souls who called her home. The last entry in the captain's log, dated 10 days prior, reads only, "All well. What happened here?" The cabin is a tableau of sudden departure. A half-eaten meal sits on the table, the coffee still warm when the Dei Gratia arrived. A child's doll lies abandoned on the floor, its porcelain face staring blankly at the ceiling. The ship's log is open to the final entry, the ink still wet. And in the captain's quarters, a single, chilling detail. A loaded pistol rests on the desk as if Benjamin Briggs had reached for it in haste and then thought better of it. The crew of the Mary Celeste vanished without a trace. No struggle, no distress signal, no explanation. Only the ship adrift in the endless blue, carrying the echoes of lives that were and then were not. But the sea does not give up its secrets easily. In the years that followed, theories swirled like the fog that clings to the decks at dawn. Mutiny, piracy, a sudden inexplicable panic. Some whispered of sea monsters, of storms that swallowed men whole. Others spoke of mutiny, of a crew driven mad by the vastness of the ocean. But the truth, as always, is more elusive. The Mary Celeste was no ordinary ship. Built in 1861, she had already survived storms, collisions, and near disasters. Her captain, Benjamin Briggs, was a man of quiet faith, the devout Baptist who had once preached to his crew on Sundays. His wife, Sarah, and their 2-year-old daughter, Sophia, had joined him on this voyage, a journey that should have been routine. Instead, it became the stuff of legend. The last known sighting of the Mary Celeste was off the coast of Spain, where she was spotted by another ship. The captain, a man named John Nottingham, later testified that the Mary Celeste had been sailing erratically as if fighting an unseen force. But by the time the Dei Gratia found her, the storm had passed, the sails were set, and the ship was drifting as calmly as a child's toy in a bathtub. The lifeboat was gone. The ship's longboat, a sturdy vessel meant for emergencies, had been lowered into the water, its oars missing. But there was no sign of the crew. No bodies, no wreckage, no clues. Some say the crew abandoned ship in a panic, fleeing to the lifeboat for reasons unknown. Others believed they were taken to be pirates by the sea itself. But the most haunting theory is the simplest, that the Mary Celeste was never meant to be found. The ship's cargo barrels of industrial alcohol was intact, though one barrel had ruptured, filling the hold with fumes. Could the crew have smelled the vapor, feared an explosion, and fled in terror? If so, why leave the ship so perfectly intact? Why not send a distress signal? Why not take the ship's papers, the chronometer, the personal belongings that would have proven their identity? The answers, if they exist, are buried in the depths. The Mary Celeste was towed to Gibraltar, where an inquiry was held. The court ruled that the crew had abandoned ship in a moment of panic, though no one could say why. The ship was sold, renamed, and sailed for years under different flags, but the mystery clung to her like barnacles on her hull. In the decades that followed, the Mary Celeste became a legend, a symbol of the sea's indifference, of the fragility of human life. She was a ship that sailed without a soul, the vessel that carried ghosts. And yet the ghosts were not the crew. They were the questions, the unanswered ones, the ones that linger in the silence between the waves. What really happened to the Mary Celeste, the sea remembers, but it does not speak. And so the mystery endures. A ghost ship adrift in time, a story that begins with a disappearance and ends with nothing but the wind in the rigging and the whisper of the waves. The next chapter awaits. The truth is still out there.